In the 21st century, a country like Turkey, a NATO country, and a country that proclaims to be civilized, tolerant of people and different languages and cultures, the opposite couldn't be most truthful, especially when it comes to the native Kurdish people who belong to their land, to their towns and cities, as if there is a second-class citizen in Turkey. The first class, it's the Turkish people, and the second, even possibly third class, it's the Kurdish people. And more than 15 million Kurds in Turkey, 25 millions if we go with updated statistics. The Kurds and their language are never encouraged. It's always encouraged to speak Turkish. And if someone was to speak Kurdish or practice their own language or educate their own kids in an institution in Kurdish, it's heavily scrutinized and it has to be in Turkish. And if one was to rebel against the injustice that happens in Turkey when it comes to your mother language, in this case Kurdish, they will be prosecuted. They will be condemned in many forms, be it physical, verbally, prison, and intimidation. All of this goes on in Turkey. And speaking to many Kurds from Turkey and seeing stuff on TV and also on the news and stuff, this is a shame that a country like Turkey that aspires to be a world dominant country in terms of economy and, as stature, and yet it denies the Kurdish people their language, their mother language. And we have these European countries and these human rights organizations aware of this, but they turn a blind eye to the injustice in Turkey when it comes to the Kurdish people. And the irony and the hypocrisy of the Turkish government under Erdogan when it comes to the Palestinians and their suffering. They are very verbally out there. Oh, the Palestinian people have suffered and this and that under the Israelis. Yet at the same time they are committing these crimes against the Kurdish people, even on a bigger scale, where you're denied your mother's language. Years gone by, they demilitarized certain areas in eastern Turkey, near Diyarbakir and all these other towns, and they went in there, did what they need to do. Murder and all sorts of atrocities went on. And this was a NATO country doing this. So if anyone in this world has anything to talk about morals and the injustices of people in this world and their human rights and their self-determinations, the one government that can't speak will be the Turkish government, because they are the ones who are also putting the suffering onto the Kurdish people by denying them their rights, by prosecuting when they speak Kurdish. They think that the Turkish language is the only language that should be spoken. Is this ideology and the nationalistic view they have is disgusting. It is disgusting. In essence, it feels like they are a super race, whereas they are just any other nation, any other people. Nothing's permanent in this world, but yet they claim that they are a higher race. And I am not saying that as a matter of opinion, but their actions, the way they treat the Kurdish people, shows this. Even the few million Syrians in Turkey during the war, and still some of them are still there, they also felt the Turkish oppression. The ones it was on the news where they took all the Arabic writing off and done a lot of intimidation and threats to the Syrian people that were there, who escaped from Assad's regime, tried to set up a livelihood for themselves, work, and they faced a lot of racisms. I think these final years of the war when the Syrian people had to flee and go to Turkey and or elsewhere in Lebanon, when they went to Turkey, they experienced the racism for themselves, and maybe they felt for a brief moment what the Kurdish people are going through and have been going through. And if you speak Kurdish, yes, in places like Istanbul, it's a big metropolitan city, yes, people do speak Kurdish, yes, but you have to still be careful. Because if you come across these ultra-nationalistic, racist scumbags, they will harm you, they will intimidate you. And so is the institutions in terms of the police. They will find any excuse. Usually they use PKK as an excuse to arrest and prosecute Kurds who are spoken against the oppression. So PKK is designated a terrorist organization by Turkey, European Union and America. And it fits fantastically in the Turkish government's hand. Because anytime they want to prosecute or arrest a Kurd or a Kurdish member of the parliament, and they don't want them to be raising their voice and, being out there and expressing their rights as citizens of the country, they will come up with any sort of excuse to arrest them and say that this person has PKK links. So they just stereotype all the Kurds, and it's an easy way for them to just prosecute anyone that's spoken, anyone that's not tolerating their nonsense, their racism. So it's high time that these governments change for the better. Turkey will be in a better situation, in the world stage, economically, by just accepting that there is a Kurdish nation, there is a Kurdish people with their traditions, with their cultures. Even if there were no country called Kurdistan within the Turkish borders, but at least respect the people. Let them practice their language, let them practice their culture, their traditions. The Kurdish language and the Kurdish people have existed before there was a country called Turkey, before there was even a Turkish language. So this injustice in this world, in the 21st century, is sad. It's sad. I just hope that my Turkish brothers and sisters can voice their concerns and that they can change their ideology when it comes to the Kurdish people, and that the Turkish government can wake up and see that this channel that they are taking is not the right path. A path of tolerance, acceptance, that we are all humans. The hypocrisy needs to stop. You cannot say that these people are suffering, they have been prosecuted, this country has done this to them, but at the same time they are doing it to the Kurdish people. It is sad. And I just hope the world changes for the better, for the Kurdish people, for all people that are oppressed, and for all that are suffering under cruel governments. Thank you for watching my video.